Kevin, last night it was the State of the Union address, and always a crucial time in a president's tenure to be able to tout their successes and answer questions, hecklers, whatever's going on. First, of course, he had a sizable portion of trashy hecklers, like our friend, the fucking wayward dance mom reject, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Wow.
But so I thought we would give a state of the Kliq this union also here. Let us know. We've been doing this for 6 months, so we can, along with Joe, we can talk about what we've had to experience here a little bit too. So he had those trashy hecklers. We have YouTube, is where we have our trashy hecklers, of course. So very similar to what he deals with in the room, we have to deal with. Biden talked about big corporations had to pay their fair share. Our advertisers have to pay their fair share. It's what we've all learned after 6 months. Talked about protecting Medicare. And we're hoping we can get our YouTube play buttons delivered before we're collecting Medicare. Called for a ban on assault weapons. And we've called on a ban. Called for a ban on the term Detroit pies for pizza. He's called for police reform, and the police are called for wellness checks anytime Kevin's having a bad day on this show. So Biden created 12 million jobs. We created 23,217 boners with our Blue Chew ads. Let's go through some of what was talked about last night here. And they always put the fact check out the day after.
I was very impressed. I mean, there was some things that there was really nothing that he was facetious about.
No, there were no blatant lies. But as with a politician, there's some spin, right?
Well, I mean, it's when he talked about the what Trump, how deep Trump had put us in the hole during his 4 years, and yes, I mean, the fact that he did the tax cuts led to a lot of that, but the pandemic stimulus that was given out to keep the country afloat during that time, and people forget this, that Trump really, with that, whatever the fuck he called it, Project Warp or whatever, but he did get vaccinated. I mean, Trump did a good job of getting the vaccine out, and it was just that it was instead of it being a medical situation, and it really was never a vaccine; it was an RNA inhibitor. But it became then it became politicized, and then it became, like everything else, like it became, oh, you wear a mask. And a mask was a sign of a Democrat.
Right.
Like everything took this political overture, while it's been proven statistically that more Republicans died than Democrats of COVID.
So what you were talking about was the deficit, right? I think they were saying $8 trillion of the $31 trillion happened over the 4 years that Trump sat in the White House. But I mean, of course, COVID was a contributing factor, and but you do have the tax cuts that
is huge.
Deprived us.
That 25% of our debt as a nation, since we've been a country, was accrued during his 4 years.
Yeah.
So, and that I don't know. I mean, maybe I missed the boat on this, but fiscal conservative was what Republicans were known for. Smaller government,
fiscal conservatism. Yeah. So let's see. What else did he talk about? He mentioned an interesting drill down he had was unemployment among specific demographics.
Right.
And he did mention that there is now record low unemployment for Black and Hispanic workers, which
It was
appears to
off.
be
It was
true.
off, but I think it and actually in maybe 90. God, I read that damn thing today. But black unemployment was 0.5% lower at one other time in the last.
Oh, then it was okay,
Yeah.
but it was
But nothing that you could say, ha ha.
right.
Tried to slip one by me there, but with a 0.5%.
Right.
I'm
I think
just
it was
really-
5.4 is what the African American unemployment was, and the Hispanic was 4.5.
Before they had the State of the Union, they went around and basically did, a lot of polling, and the numbers of people that thought that he was doing a good job were like, he had like a 40% approval, but like 34% on the economy of Americans. And when you basically see, if you go through that list of jobs and everything else that he's done during this time, he's done a very good job. And what it looked like was going to be going into a recession right now, as long as we kick the can down the street again and pay the debt ceiling, we're probably going to have a very soft. We won't be in a recession. We'll have a soft landing, and probably within 8 months start to get. I mean, there's a lot of people that were predicting a bear market that are starting to say they're
Go bullish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They're looking for this to be a bull. So, and for me, I was looking at some of my portfolio, and especially like just the dividend buying stocks. That even though, and this was like when it was the too big to fail era, and I would watch, I'd be like, shit, like I'm getting killed, but at the same time, the dividends are going in and buying stocks at a lower price. And then when the market corrects itself, you end up, making back that 12% that you lost and some.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean,
A lot of people were saying that Biden hadn't done much. I don't think people read the news. I think people skim. I think people's news mostly comes from Twitter or whatever social will show just headlines. Because clearly nobody's looked at manufacturing data, unemployment.
here's one for you. So, how many people out there are aware that the Gordie Howe Bridge that is going from Canada to Detroit, which is south of the Ambassador Bridge, is, the two main structures are there, and now they've just got I think it's 0.53 miles of bridge they've got to build, but there's going to be another bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And that's infrastructure, and the amount of like bridges and like I'm really concerned right now is like it seems like to me like we've had a ton of air traffic control problems,
Yes.
and I'm talking about 4 or 5, but it's just like, hey, if the guy from FedEx decides to take off, he goes inside of the United flight. I haven't been flying because I just haven't left my house.
Right.
And I got a card in the mail today from the people that work for Delta in Daytona Beach, and it was just hope you're they haven't seen me. They're so used to seeing me every Friday and every like it was signed by like 35 employees. from
Wow.
Delta. Yeah. My wife opened it. I said, she said, you got something from Delta here in Daytona Beach. I'm like, well, open it up. She opened it up and she was just like, wow. And I said, well, I guess my big ass is missed.
Yeah. It reminds me of when I moved out of my mother's home in my 20s. the Domino's pizza in neighboring North Bergen called because I'd so frequently placed orders to see if I was okay, and she had to inform them that they moved.
Not Little Caesars.
Not Little Caesars. No,
Son of a
we didn't
bitch.
have one of those.